I actually think that there have been any number of times along the way that there is a better defense for Donald Trump than what has often been offered in the discourse of the campaign. And so I want to work somewhat in defense of Donald Trump now, and here are your reactions to some of this. But the first one is what you were just saying, that there have been this series of sort of shocking statements, shocking isolated statements, sometimes not so isolated. He said these racy things, he said things that were deliberately meant to inflame, but at the same time, as you say, he's a reality TV star. He was an impresario of professional wrestling and beauty pageants. Those are as much a part of the personality of his entrepreneurial activities as so much of this other work. In the end, he has been an actor and a performer. We didn't judge Ronald Reagan by the characters that he portrayed in the movies. Are we, in some respects, have we gotten caught up in not just giving him a break, but perhaps overly condemning what are simply the habits of someone who's been a provocateur?
Well, Donald Trump throughout his life has built this one image, this one character. And whether you think that's who he truly is or that's a character he plays on TV, that's the one we have. Ronald Reagan was a labor union organizer. He was a governor. He set up the state university system in California. He did a lot of things before he became president. So I'm not sure the analogy is quite right. But granted, Americans love rogues. We've loved rogues through our entire history, from Mark Twain, Will Rogers, all the way through today. And so we like them in our politicians, too. There's a little bit of rogue in Bill Clinton and certainly in Ronald Reagan even. So we like iconoclasts, and Donald Trump fits that very neatly, and we happen to be in a moment where there's a craving for outsiders. That's not new this year. That's not something that Donald Trump brought to the scene. That's the Tea Party. That's the last several elections. That's Barack Obama, hope and change. So, I did a story recently going out and looking at, may seem not quite logical, but there are a lot of Obama-Trump voters out there. And those are the hope and change people. Those are the people who were attracted to Obama because he was different, because he was not experienced, and because he was saying that he was going to change the system. And so a lot of those people, they may be disillusioned with Obama, they've turned to Trump.
So here's Donald Trump. He's never run for public office, so obviously never held public office. He hasn't done things like Mark mentioned about Ronald Reagan. But Donald Trump has run businesses, and he ran a number of them almost into the ground. So that's important to know. If you were looking at, well, what's he done in his job experience? He did file 6 corporate bankruptcies. He said it was 4, but it was really 6, because he combines 3 together, but they weren't combined and so forth. So you have to look at that. Here's his career. He created a public company, and the ticker symbol was DJT, his initials. The shares at one point were $35. He made millions of dollars himself, but in the end, the share was worth 17 cents, and a lot of shareholders got very angry. So I think it's very fair, since there's no public record of governance, what has he done when he's run businesses, which after all is his main calling card. Not the reality show, not the showmanship and so forth. This is what he's selling. He's saying, I've run businesses, I win, win, win. Okay, he certainly has won on many occasions. He built some great buildings, Trump Tower and so forth. But in fairness, he's also had a number of business catastrophes. After all, he wrote a book called The Art of the Comeback. So he had to have obviously fallen pretty deep to write that book. And we try to tell that entire story, as well as he's been in politics in certain ways for a long time. He's changed his party affiliation 7 times. So he's not an ideological person the way a lot of other folks are. He's been a Democrat, Republican, Reform Party candidate, independent. That's important information to know as you're making your decision about this person. And that can be an attraction to people. If you're looking for an outsider, someone who's not an ideologue, that would be attractive to you. If you are looking for someone and you're, say, a conservative Republican, you only want that type of person who's been uniform his entire life, then Donald Trump doesn't fit that, but he has an explanation as to why that is.